How Bizarre is intended for mature, open-minded audiences only. If you are easily offended, we suggest you turn this wacky shit straight off.
What a year it's been, huh?
Man.
I feel like every time we take a month off, the whole fucking country just goes to shit. Like the biggest fucking events. Since our last show, we've had a gunned down healthcare CEO, which led to an overwhelming lack of empathy. Drones over New Jersey. Let's see, UFOs over the Pacific Northwest. A dude blew himself up in a Tesla in front of Trump's Vegas hotel, and we had that horrific terror attack in New Orleans over New Year's. It's like, slow the fuck down here, y'all. And that's not even everything.
Well, you could tell me because I've been living under a rock. You can tell me all these things because I know half of them. Well, I didn't know about the Tesla guy or the bear. What was the bear? UFOs over the
There might have been a bear in there somewhere. I don't remember a bear, but no. UFOs, yeah, over the Pacific Northwest. Well, you've heard about the drones.
I did hear about the
Jersey,
drones, but I didn't think. I figured DJI a little fucking for
drones and orbs.
Drones,
orbs.
The size
like
of
my memoir
chest or something, They're not that big, but I was under the assumption later that the drones were like the size of a car. So
that's
I
what
don't
they're
know.
saying.
That's what some of the reports are. Yeah.
Well, I got an AR-15 that'll knock it out of the sky.
Well, I think
done.
I don't know if anyone's tried to shoot these down yet, but it's kind of funny because at this point, I mean, this is old news, and I feel like
There's a lot of talk about it.
I don't feel like anyone's talking about it now.
Oh, if it happened around here, it probably would have shut him down. I think our PED would have probably shot him down, to be honest with you.
It's weird. There's a lot of weirdness to this. All I can say, now I do believe that people were seeing some weird shit, like some inexplicable stuff, and it seems like the government, even to some degree, was acknowledging it and then saying they didn't know what it was. Very weird and vague speeches they were making about it, and it did little to soothe public concerns. But here's what I know. I know after watching so many live streams on TikTok, YouTube, and wherever they have popped up, people do not know anything about what's up in the sky. And I used to say it all the time. Nobody looks up anymore. So when you look up, you see shit. And if you're living in a metropolitan area, like a busy, next to a busy airport whatsoever, there are constantly things landing and taking off. And watching these live streams has been eye-opening because, it's pretty easy, even through a live stream at night, it's pretty easy to spot something that is at least more than likely a plane. It sounds like a plane. It's got blinking lights like a plane. It lands at an airport. Same with helicopters. Everything is a drone now. Everything that people are out filming is like, oh my God, there's another one. You guys, there are drones everywhere. And they'd like pan out to their entire city, and you'd see just typical aircraft like everywhere. Like everything is a drone to them. Like, oh my God, there's another one. It's circling around you guys. Just no, that's a plane. You can clearly see that it's a plane. So I am confident that 90%, at least 90% of what people have seen overall at this point is just normal aircraft. But that's stupid people that never look up. It's probably been 30 years since a lot of these people looked up. And if you haven't seen a new plane or a new helicopter, maybe you've forgotten what they look like. But,
right.
But I have seen enough pieces of footage. And again, I feel like there would be some sort of official explanation. I haven't heard, maybe I'm behind the times here, but I haven't heard any official explanation about what's happening. But I have heard official, like both aviation experts and, like I said, the government acknowledging them and saying we're not really sure what's going on. That's what's interesting to me. Yeah, go ahead, Lon.
As a non professional aviationist, but a drone enthusiast.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell you that planes at night have to they have signal lights. Mm-hmm. Every plane that ever goes into the sky has these lights they have to have, and they're mandatory. You turn them on when you leave the airport. You turn them on as you land. And drones are the same way. Drones have lights on them, and they're mandatory. You have to have them on. You can't just put tape over them and fly them around, and and then you wouldn't even see them, and you just hear them probably more than see them.
Yeah.
But they do have lights on them. They do flash, and they are bright. I mean, they're bright enough to fool you to think that there could be a helicopter.
Yeah. Well,
they just move slower.
They don't sound like
they don't sound like a helicopter, and they move slower than a helicopter. But I mean, and that's the mainstream of most drones.
So all I know is that for a couple of weeks, this shit was all over Twitter and all other kinds of the sources of news, right? And mostly the stories that I was seeing on this, I watched some shit on YouTube, but like most of the stories I was seeing were through like people posting shit on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And so you're going to get a lot of chaff, but there's also going to be a lot of grain as well, right? So you have to kind of like be able to pick. But the thing is that whether it was real or not, what people were posting was like a plane or just a misidentification or some fucking AI shit, or if it was the real stuff. There was a lot of it happening for a few weeks. Mm-hmm. And then just fucking, and like, even like you were saying, like the government was getting involved in making statements and stuff like, oh, well, we don't know what it is, but it's not a threat to anybody. You know what I mean? It's like, well, how can you, if you don't know what it is, then how can you say that? You know? And
exactly.
It was just
like
it's like you're the government. Like, do what you do. Lie.
And they were debunking shit like, oh, it's not an Iranian freighter off the coast, and it's, you know what I mean? They're like debunking that. It's like, well, okay, yeah. So if you know that's not what it is, then it's not a threat. Then what? So, anyways. So that was like,
you have to kind of
that was about the last real thing that I think anybody heard about it. It was like, we don't really know what it is, but it's not a threat. And then suddenly, like,
so shut up about it already.
It just disappeared. It just all disappeared. It just fucking poof. No one's talking about it anymore.
Well, I don't know what I'm...
It wasn't just New Jersey and the East Coast. It was like starting to happen like globally, right? There was like reports like globally of this shit happening.
Yeah,
and suddenly
but
just
see,
like
that's where I'm wondering how many people, because honestly, one of the most ridiculous pieces of, it was a live stream. It wasn't a video. This woman was live streaming from London, and she was looking out her high-rise window. And this was one of the most ridiculous examples of, no, that's clearly a plane. That's clearly a helicopter. Nothing about this looks like weird movement. Nothing about it looks, it was London. You can, like a big fucking international airport in London, and a big city in general, you're going to have all sorts of stuff. And I could tell, here's the thing. I know a lot of people are tying this to the orbs, and orbs have been a part of the paranormal discussion, whether you're talking like ghosts or aliens or UFOs, whatever, top secret clandestine military activities. Most of what I see being named an orb is clearly just an out of focus light. It's like there's this thing you do. You aim your phone or a camera. It's actually easier to do this with the camera, where you can manually focus. You can manually focus your phone.
Can I tell you what it's called?
What, haloing?
No, it's called lens breathing. It's when you're going in and out of focus. Your lens will breathe. It'll beep, 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 trying to focus onto the. That's what they call it. They call it lens breathing.
Well, this woman was filming
in photography.
She even was filming. To go on too long of a rant about this, but this woman was filming things that were dialed in. Her camera was focused, and you could tell, like, it was crisp. You could see the aviation lights. They were the right colors. They were on the right side of the plane. You could tell that was a plane. And then she would follow it for a little bit, and then it would go out of focus. And guess what it turned into? An orb. And she would lose her shit. And she had like 1,000 people watching her. This was a big thing. A lot of people were watching these live streamers of, this really captured a lot of people's attention and imagination. And she was like, oh my God, there's like a bullseye in the middle of it. Did you guys see that? It just turned into an orb. And I was desperate for somebody in that very fast moving chat of this live stream to say, your camera just went out of focus and turned that plane into a fuzzy light orb, because of it's a matter of focus or not being in focus. And nobody said it. Everyone was losing their shit that they are like, oh my God, I just witnessed it with my own eyes. How many of those thousands of people went and told everybody, I saw with my own eyes an airplane turned into an orb. Orbs are real. I saw it right in front of my face.
And people might back you out on the other side saying, oh my God, but it's new technology. But the thing is, in 2024, now we're 2025, every camera in the world does it. You know what I mean? Every fucking camera in the world has more of a 50% chance of going out of focus at night than anything.
Yeah.
Just because it can't see it.
Well, and it's just amateurs. These aren't photographers. Even your phone, if you know what you're doing, you can, tweak your phone to get some amazing images right out of the phone.
Sure.
But you got to know what you're doing, and most people don't. They're just aiming them at the sky and then zooming in. That's what does it, is like when you zoom in, the digital zoom, and then you got the optical zoom, whatever kind of phone you have. It's almost always a digital zoom, but it's processing it's refocusing. And I saw so finally I was just like, okay, you guys understand how focusing works, right? Because this lady who was filming, she made this big deal about how this plane that magically turned into an orb had what she was calling a target. She was like describing it as a bullseye. Like there is a separate piece in the middle. I'm like, okay, aim your phone at any of those lights on top of the buildings out in front of you and move your phone in a way that causes the focus to go blurry. You will see the exact same haloing effect. She wouldn't do it.
All you had to do is halfway hold down your button, for your photo.
Just switch over to manual focus or whatever, and you'd see it immediately. She finally, and everyone was yelling at me in this chat, like people from all over the world. This is why I don't get involved. I don't get involved with anything anymore. It's like, what's the fucking point? Like if you don't
shit on their party.
I know, and see, I don't get off on shitting on people's party. I'm not that guy. No. But this was driving me fucking crazy. So everyone's yelling at me, but then someone's like, prove this guy wrong. Aim it over at that building light, and I promise you it won't make that same effect. She was like, fine. She moved it over to the light. Immediately, as soon as it went out of focus, it looked exactly like the other thing. You know how many people in that chat acknowledged it? 0. Like, see, it doesn't look anything like it. I was like, well, okay, that light is red, but the light on the plane was white. But you said there was this target, this little bullseye in the middle, and I knew that was just a haloing effect of the blur. And it's like you can't have conversations. And this is what drives me crazy, because I do think that there was some tomfoolery going on with these drones. I feel like there was enough evidence, and again, just the way that the authorities have responded to this is weird. Because they could have just said there's nothing. Like, people are just seeing planes and there was some of that. But they didn't just come out and say that, and they're good at that. The government's good at coming out and saying you're all crazy, don't pay attention to anything, mind your own fucking business. They do it all the time. I got to be honest, though, it was kind of refreshing to see this happening outside of the U.S., because I do think that so many of these things are U.S. phenomena. And
I was hoping that we would have a Scooby-Doo ending there, and the lady from Britain or whatever would be like, well, I would have got away with it, too, if it wasn't for you meddling little American.
Meddling gap-toothed bald dude in Washington State.
Well, the thing is, and the weird thing is that it's almost documented that some UFOs you can't see with your naked eye. You could only see it through optics. And that's the weird thing about that story that kind of is weird. And it's gone on for, I've heard of it going on for over 20 years. That some people that seen UFOs, like my buddy, the plumber guy that was up in the Squilchuck Canyon up by Leavenworth, that was up hiking, hunting. He was up on the top of the ridge, and he heard this, what it sounded like him was a fluttering of ducks. There's no fucking ducks on top of a mountain, and it like they hovered down onto a lake. That's what it sounded like, down to the lake. And he was like, what the hell? And he looked down, looked around, couldn't see things until he looked up, and then he saw the bottom of this, what he called the mothership, which was a spaceship. Like the bottom of it had this trap door on it, like a square door that looked like an old black and white TV that had like, grainy like imaging in it, like a force field or whatever. I don't know what, he thought he saw, but it got out and scooted out in between the valley, and he couldn't see it with his eyes anymore. He couldn't see it. Yep. It was gone. But if he raised his rifle up, he could see it through his optics. That's what the weird thing. And I've heard other stories about that.
You know what's interesting? We just had the Northern Lights down here in ways that we've never had ever. And there was a similar thing like that. Like we're all standing. We knew that people were seeing it, and we were watching other people posting videos and photos of it online. And then we'd go out, and I got some light pollution out by where I live, but not as much as in the town, in the city. And I was like, we could see like hints of it, but then we pointed the camera up at the sky, and it was like, holy shit, there it is. There was something that the cameras could see, and I think a lot of people experience this for the first time. It's like, why can't we pick this up with our naked eye? But as soon as we take the video and the photo, it's like, holy shit, it's so vivid and so clear. Yeah. So, interesting phenomenon.
Yeah, cameras actually see a lot more than you think. They could actually pretty much see in the dark these days. The newer cameras, like any one of my DSLR, professional video like cameras, can see pretty much in the dark, with the proper lens. It has to be a very low aperture lens, very wide open lens. But, the lower you could lower your ISO and lower your aperture down, the more you could almost see. You could definitely see more than your naked eye can in the dark.
Oh, for sure.
So, yeah.
Chris, are you there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
What's your thoughts on the drones? Did you go down any of those rabbit holes at all?
Call me Lyle, because I was fucking under a rock on that one. I was just too busy dad life and then bar life and.
That's fair.
But I've been listening, and I saw some footage, and I just I don't know. Fucking, it's so easy to get drones, and so many people probably have them. I don't fucking know.
Drones. Yeah, I mean
you got a drone for Christmas.
Yeah, you get them for Christmas,
Yeah.
They broke them down so cheap, because like the professional drones, like the one I got, the two that I had, I got rid of one of them. Most of the DJI line is, I would consider very professional. They do industrial, they do crop work, for like agriculture and stuff like that. So I mean, they're very on the ball.
Or flying over to Ronster's house and seeing that he's got debris out in the backyard.
They come in different sizes. They have ones that almost look like they have giant legs, like they're, a decent size, drone. They're not the size of a car by any means, but they're relatively like the older DJIs. They just look menacing, you know what I mean? They kind of look like alien drones. What it would look like, just because they got their armature, where they have the 4 propellers or 6 or 8 propellers, or they're running on armatures, so they kind of look like they're a little bigger than they are. Something like that out of the War of the Worlds or something like that. But they're not huge. I mean, you could build them out really big, but you can't. They're only like the size of the hood of your car, for a footprint.
I just sent you guys a video. I don't know. This is not connected to the mysterious New Jersey drones, but did you guys see this fucking drone malfunction that happened in Orlando?
No.
Hit play on that.
I love these things, though.
I love how they do these. I do too, but after seeing this, I'm hesitant to be anywhere near it. Look what fucking happens here. It's like Galaga. Shit starts dive bombing. They are going crazy.
I'm going to play the audio.
Okay. I don't know if there's anything interesting, but
they're just
we all die.
Well, people got seriously fucked up. I mean, look at how hard those things are falling, and they weren't just falling straight down. They were like flying into people. So a little boy, like an 8-year-old boy, got hit in the chest. He went into cardiac arrest. He almost died.
Oh, Jesus!
They took him
because they got blades spinning on them, and they're sharp though.
Well, just getting thumped in the chest can kick your heart into cardiac. I mean, that's why they pound on your chest when you're dead. It's to wake it back up. But if you're already alive, it can put you back asleep. I heard the kid's doing all right, but that scene is right out of, that's where these like dystopian future movies start, right? Like we're out enjoying a nice drone show, and I haven't seen anything this big, but I've seen them in person.
Are they cool? And I've not seen one in person yet.
I've seen the amazing like big ones on video, and it's like I would love to see that. After looking at that though, that is a massive malfunction. That could have been so much worse.
Those ones are about the size of the ones I got. Mm-hmm. The like the Mavericks. They're ones you put like in a large pocket.
Look at the impact that those things have when it's hitting the ground.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. It's
amazing no one died.
Oh, mine will do. I think mine will do like 40 or 50.
Damn.
What do you think is more likely?
Balls out.
Going to a drone show and getting injured by a malfunctioning drone, or going to a fireworks show and getting injured by a firework?
I feel like fireworks got to be much higher. They're way more common. Well, you saw that what happened in Hawaii, right?
Oh, I don't know if I saw the Hawaii one, but I've seen so many.
People died.
I mean, like
you gotta see this.
Oh, in
shit.
Hawaii they died.
People died. This looked like a fucking war. Look at this shit. Let me find it.
Oh, yeah, me.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Keep on going while I find it, though.
No, but like that's what I'm saying. Like I still feel like the drone shows are probably the future. We're probably gonna get a lot more of that, and they're gonna get safer. They can only get safer.
I would hope.
That's fucking stupid to say.
Well, I don't understand how they work.
But you hope.
To be honest with you, they have to run on some type of a software that may.
Oh yeah, it's all programmed.
It's like a hive mind, man.
But software can be hacked or become corrupted.
Totally, that's fucking true. I mean,
if we're talking terror attack or even just one.
Are you sending us something?
Play this motherfucker.
You'd have to be a super nerd to want to.
I'm gonna do the audio.
Yeah, do the audio. This is a news clip from ABC News.
Explosion in the Honolulu area. 3 people killed and dozens more injured during a New Year's Eve celebration. First responders racing to the scene. The injured rushed to local hospitals, many in critical condition. We are learning tonight about the investigation. Here's ABC's Stephanie Ramos.
It started as a joyous New Year's celebration in Honolulu, but a few blocks from the crowd gathered on this balcony near Pearl Harbor, the celebration at one home turned deadly.
Oh, wow.
You can see and hear a wave of violent explosions in the distance.
Fucking mushroom
Officials
cloud.
say at least 3 people were killed at the scene, dozens of people injured.
Look at that. Whoa. Imagine that going off in your yard.
Officials say the massive explosions were caused by illegal fireworks.
They're just low flyers, right? Jeez. They like went off low.
It was everything. It was all these massive illegal aerial fireworks and the big boomers, all in like one fucking box essentially, and they all got ignited at once.
At once? Oh,
and they weren't set to be launched. You know, you got to set these things. This is why these are illegal. You got to know what you're doing with this shit. And even when you know what you're doing with it, they're dangerous. They're very, very finicky. And people fucking died. So there was a press conference with some of the politicians and law enforcement in Hawaii, and they're like, we are seriously considering like making this a next tier felony. Like if you just get caught with illegal fireworks, that you have to go to prison because this is getting ridiculous. Wow. And you know, this fireworks debate thing drives me crazy. I never thought much about fireworks as an adult one way or the other. But I also don't remember there being 3 straight fucking days of nonstop aerial and explosions. The week leading up to New Year's, the week leading up to 4th of July. Like we had one night, we got it out of our system, 5, maybe 6 hours. Now it's like the entire week. Once you start, it's like someone else is like, oh, are we going? Even though New Year's is 2 weeks away, let's go. And I really never thought about it until I got a dog that will literally destroy herself trying to escape the horrible noises. And it's like every fucking time it's a firework holiday coming, I get PTSD. And I'm like, I got to deal with this shit because my dog's got to deal with it. I got to deal with it. And I can't be home with her because I'm out hosting a 3-hour fucking New Year's burlesque show every New Year's. So I don't know. I have no sympathy for these kinds of fireworks going off nonstop around me. And these people that want to act like, oh, your dog's a pussy because it doesn't like fireworks, or you're a pussy because you don't like fireworks. This macho man culture that's coming along with these modern politics have me eye rolling, to say the least. But this is a weird one. I feel like so many people probably never really cared about fireworks, especially going out. You got to go out and find illegal fireworks. I'm sure that's not that hard to do, but you have to do it. Who knows? Maybe you can just order these things online and it's as simple as that. It probably is. But you still have to do it. I feel like this was
Typically,
never...
it's a drive to the closest
reservation. You know, there you go. Yeah, that's probably true. You have to make a special trip. And that was few and far between back in the day. Now I feel like everyone's just out there lighting fireworks because people like me are complaining about fireworks. We're in this fuck you era of humanity here in the States, and I can't speak for what's going on climate wise anywhere else, but right now we are really having a grand old time just pissing people off. We're angry and we want to piss people off, and it's like if someone complains about a thing, I'm going to do it even harder. I'm going to go out and get illegal fireworks and light fireworks. Like, motherfucker, have you been doing this your whole life? Because something changed. I don't know when it changed. About a decade, maybe a little more than that ago. Suddenly, it's just firework fucking madness.
Say about nine years ago.
Yeah.
Well, what?
Here anyway.
I don't understand why everyone has to fucking light fireworks now.
Well, a lot of people want to be the professional and go get their own. I'm one to say that I've done it before, where we've gone once a year up to the reservation. I got like those mortar balls and light those off in town, you know.
Look, I know it's not a new thing. I just don't understand why it's so fucking widespread. Well, I wasn't safe about it. I remember the shit I was doing with some of those mortars that we got, but and we're lucky. Like, we're just fucking lucky that we didn't blow. Like, well, we never had. That's got to be like $5,000 worth of fireworks. These motherfuckers. These things are not cheap. Like, one of those giant aerials can be hundreds of dollars, if not more. Well, I'm sure there's no ceiling to how much they can be.
I seen one on, I don't watch TikTok, but I think it was YouTube Shorts. And this thing was like 6 foot tall. And it was just a giant monster thing. And they took it out in the middle of like what we would think Fancher Heights, like going up to the heights. Mm-hmm. And they just stopped at the side of the road, and they must have bob wired it to the fucking guardrail and shot that thing off. And my gosh. That was a sight to see. Yeah. That was like one of our big shows all at once. Like at least half of it in a, consolidated one big bang.
That's how wildfires get started.
Well, that's the other thing. These things are so expensive. Who can afford this shit? Who is going out and spending this much fucking money? I don't know. I know I get why people mock people like me, like being an old man. And the only people that can really think that way.
I don't get it. That's bullshit.
Have never seen an animal respond in the way that my dog does. And it's very common. I just hadn't seen it until this one dog. My cats, I had one cat, one of my late cats from quite a while ago, was terrified of fireworks. And I would build a little fort for him and turn on some white noise, and he would get spooked, but he doesn't freak out like my fucking dog does. My dog will, she tries to burrow through the walls of my house or something. It's like it makes her crazy. She doesn't know what she's doing. She grinds her fingernails. Like, I got to get some fucking doggy Valium. Because it just gets worse every fucking year. But I've heard that doesn't always work. But I guess if you don't have an animal that acts that way, and you're not thoughtful about maybe veterans who still have PTSD when the sounds of literal mortars are going off all around them, then you think that everyone that complains about them is just a whiny old fuck. But man, it is really harsh life around here.
The thing is, I think the times are changing.
Ooh,
I honestly believe, like, within the next 5 years, that we probably won't even have fireworks anymore. I think we'll have these drone shows.
Well,
I think we'll legitimately have from town, like city to city, So Seattle on the Space Needle will have a giant drone show that all the drones will circle around the fucking Space Needle and fucking woo and have a fisherman, catching and throwing fish.
Oh,
all animated with drones.
You got me thinking,
lights,
Lyle. Well, maybe what happened with this drone malfunction was it was hacked by firework makers. Because they don't want you to stop buying fireworks, so they hacked in and made the drones, killer drones. Yeah. Before we move on from aerial stuff, I do want to play. This is a different thing than what was going on in New Jersey, but up here in the Pacific Northwest, we have had some wacky UFO tomfoolery. Now, I haven't seen any, but these are seasoned air traffic controllers and pilots that you're about to hear. And this always intrigues me. I hope I got the right clip. This looks like a little too short. This is recent, though, from this is some pilots in Oregon. Let's see if this is the right one.
Had another one show up about my 1 o'clock, about 1,000 feet high, zipping towards us and then back out towards the ocean. It's red in color, moving at extreme speeds. I don't even know how to describe how fast it's moving. 661 on the Fox. Typical Name Foxtrot Roger. You are cleared to maneuver as necessary left and right to avoid the UFO out there, and all the reports you give us are good information. Appreciate it.
Okay, that was a shorter clip, but I don't want to dig around. Were you able to hear that all right?
Mm-hmm.
So it went on for a couple of minutes. Control Tower was saying, well, we're getting reports all up and down the Oregon coast. So it was widespread. Pilots, trained pilots, seasoned pilots, seeing shit that they couldn't understand, they couldn't explain. Now, that wasn't... People who were seeing the drones in New Jersey were not, from what I was hearing and seeing, they weren't talking about these things maneuvering at crazy-ass speeds. So whatever was going on in the Pacific Northwest was red color and flying at speeds that don't make any kind of sense, and interestingly, flying out to the ocean. And it's just like, man, there's a lot going on right now.
The only thing in the ocean right now, I think, going on is like late salmon.
Well, it could be red salmon. Could be red salmon flying out there if they're horny.
That's the only thing that's going on out there?
Well, in the ocean, you know what I mean?
That's all? Just the salmon?
Anything commercially wise that you could fish for is just salmon out there. So, there's probably a fuckload of boats out there, maybe reflecting lights or something. Who knows? Could have been somebody with a laser. Who knows?
Lasers, bro.
Moving on to a different thing. We got to talk about Pornhub did their annual search results, like the #1 search results. If you guys haven't seen, can you guess what the U.S. searched for more than anything else on Pornhub in 2024?
No. I don't know.
It's a good guess.
I would guess sister porn.
That's a good guess too.
Sorry, step sister porn.
That was Washington State's
Don't
#1.
be gross, Lyle.
I didn't get weird. Sorry, I didn't mean to get Idaho with you. My bad.
I don't know.
John Mark,
I'd be curious to know John Mark. He always has a good. He just has like a weird thing about knowing this stuff.
Finger on the pulse of the porn community.
I have no idea.
Finger on the vein of the dick.
I feel like I read this story though, but I can't remember what it was.
Well, the #1 search term for the entire U.S. was ebony.
Oh,
which I found strangely progressive. I talked about this at the New Year's show, and I was like, I didn't realize that skin color could be a porn genre, but of course it could. Anything could. But more specifically, Washington, it still looked like we are searching stepmom. Now, Idaho, as Lyle mentioned, and Montana, they are still searching stepsister.
Okay.
And then lesbian was dominating the rest of the West Coast at one point, but that is given way to ebony, and a lot of the East Coast is now searching ebony. One search term that has sort of skyrocketed out of nowhere is modest and modesty. I found that intriguing, and I wonder if that's because...
How does that work? Well, let me put my clothes back on. Sorry.
Well, actually, I didn't do this. Let me pull up Pornhub and let me search modesty and see what it comes up with. My theory, I'm guessing that it's just something that's fairly tame and, I guess,
you got it all bookmarked.
quote-unquote normal sex. But my hypothesis on that was, oh, those look like very young women. Modest?
That chuckle was the best part of that.
A modest girl. Oh, maybe I'm thinking about this wrong. I think this is, they want a girl that's modest. I was thinking that it was modest in terms of the overall sex act. Like maybe it's not super graphic. Maybe it's not super exotic. It's just like quote unquote normal.
Yeah, behavior. Behavior is modest, right?
Milk toast sex.
I thought it was Modest Mouse, which I watched open up for Guns N' Roses back in 1970.
That's a weird ass show, man. That is a strange lineup.
That's a weird show. I wonder if after a few decades at this point of nonstop, like we have had access to every hardcore, like crazy hardcore, complicated, weird sex shit at our, literally at our fingertips. Just think it up or just stumble upon it when you're scrolling. After years of that, maybe people just want something a little tame. I don't know. Maybe that's more exotic.
I think porn ruined me.
How so?
To be honest with you, I haven't. As a kid, I mean like me, John Mark, and kind of Ron. No, I'm not trying to exclude you, Chris, but like
he's not too far behind us, but
not too far. But I doubt you like rummaged around like in a lot of porno magazines. You know what I mean, like that.
Sure, I did.
Did you?
I grew up in the fucking 80s.
Right.
I was born in 81, Lyle. Jesus Christ.
Well, I'll bring you along with the story.
My dad's mags. That was my first exposure to porn, for sure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the addiction, I think, to a lot of porn, not so much, the fucking in it and seeing titty and shit, was the just the paper it was put on, and it had that glossy kind of, all those colors, the pinks and stuff that kind of lured
like
you.
airbrush, and it wasn't reality.
Some of it was beautiful. I mean,
Ron laminated his.
Pretty goddamn dirty.
Much easier to wash.
Well, some of it was pretty goddamn dirty. And as we evolved, through the internet, which I remember one of my best friends' mom, she goes, well, what do you want to see on the internet today? And I said, I want to see some boobies. She goes, you do? And I go, yeah. I looked at my buddy and he goes, yeah, I kind of want to see some boobs too. And she, all right. And she, with the slowest, 33 meg fucking modem. It wasn't a 56.
14K or whatever.
We sat there and watched the little strips kind of load up of this chick right before her husband came home. She said, oh, I guess we're not watching boobies. Yeah, it was a still picture. She was
like, come on, load.
Yeah, she's just trying to pull up a still picture on the internet, for fucking Christ's sakes. LOL. Ayo, fuck yourself. Anyway.
Oh my God. Wow.
It progressed, right? Until like the Uber HD porn. And that ruined it for me. When you steal like welts and fucking blackheads.
You want to go back to AOL?
It really literally ruined any kind of looking at porn on the internet. Because it's too HD. It's too much.
It's too real.
You know what I mean? It's too real.
You want to escape when you watch porn, huh?
Yeah, if I want to go see that, I go to a dirty fucking street corner.
I had the complete opposite response.
You like the HD? Yeah,
I like the HD. Well, I was never, like we've talked about. I was never super into like mainstream porn. I was more into DIY and amateur porn and stuff, and just shit that people who actually wanted to be having sex filmed with their in the early days their camcorder and later on their phone. That's still the porn that I prefer.
Kind of like.
And so, high def. It was like the first time I saw like a high def butthole on the internet. I was like, fuck yes, we have arrived, son. Normally, you got to be like looking at a butthole to see it that good.
Right.
So no, I don't mind like zits and real life shit. I never minded that.
Well, it double-fied it. Like it's almost more than real. You know what I mean?
Well,
when you get into the HD, like 8K fucking shit, it's like.
But in a funny way, the Playboy stuff, and to a certain degree, Penthouse, they were all
airbrushed.
They were glossy. Dare I say, somewhat arty, but yeah, they were absolutely airbrushed, and to the point where sometimes
100%.
They looked like mannequins. And but that was what we had, and that was what we thought was normal. And I think that's a big part of what played into a lot of body image issues and a lot of beauty standards that were bullshit and not real. Maybe they're like 1 out of 1,000 people kind of look like that in real life. You know, there are people, we all know people that just like, man, they got like the best complexion. But you don't know what's going on, you know, when they take the clothes off. And
Yeah,
we
they
all
look good when the lights go down. If you know what I'm
we
saying.
all hide something. But I don't know. I was always into realness in real life and in porn. But the funny thing is, you know, the internet was really where I first discovered like dirty porn. I remember you had to find a tape. I never found like a dirty magazine. It was always like Playboys, and Penthouse was about as bad as it get. I was probably an adult by the time I got my hands on like a Hustler or something where you saw, you know, a girl fingering herself or something like that. Obviously, hardcore porn had been being made for decades by the time I got my hands on one. And that was a fucking education for a young Ronster. But it was,
I mean, I remember watching Gold Ray. A Gold Ray player? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Blu-ray?
No. A gold, the big discs.
Laserdisc.
Laserdisc porn. Yeah,
Laserdisc porn. Oh my god!
I seen
fancy pervert
that in widescreen, anamorphic.
Anamorphic.
You ain't seen a butthole till you've seen an anamorphic butthole, friend.
Goddamn sparkles in the dark. You know what I'm saying? Sparkles in the fucking dark.
I remember, you know, and this may be the difference in our years, but my first like real, like masturbatory pornographic experience was with the squiggly fucking channels.
Scrambled porn?
The cable box where you had to smack the box.
Because I was like 12 or 13 when I
first time I got laid, I asked the girl, could you like dance around in a squiggly way? This doesn't quite look right.
No, it would be what it was.
It's at the same time, and that's abnormal.
Well, did you actually get porn, or did you get like this B movie, like late night B movie kind of porn?
Yeah, like Skinamax.
No, there was like porn.
Or like real fucking.
It was like softcore though, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I can't remember.
Well, there were definitely porn channels. We didn't get those here. We had what Lyle's probably remembering what I remember, which was like HBO or Skinamax. After a certain hour, you know, you turn it on.
Yeah,
and it'd be
I
like,
remember that too. That was a whole nother chapter.
Femalien or you know, something like that. It was totally softcore, but but I remember the very first time I had a little 13-inch TV in my room, a little black and white, and I got like 3.5 channels. And one of the channels that I got super clear was PBS, which was bullshit until I discovered that they played Monty Python Flying Circus. But one magical fucking night, I was watching this movie and it was just like, this movie seems odd. And then suddenly it was just full frontal nudity. This woman comes out and this full frontal nudity. It's like, wow, this is like Masterpiece Theater. I was like, well, it's Master Bates Theater. And that was a big deal. Shit was just so much more magical back then. And we talk about this all the time. The things that kids are growing up with now and what they have seen before they're even old enough to really process what they're, you know, seeing. That's interesting. And I don't feel like I've ever gotten anywhere near being addicted to porn. I've gone through phases where I'm interested in porn and phases where I'm not. And honestly, these days, the most porn that I look at is doing the porn tunes for the Comet magazine. And I usually use like old 70s and 80s stuff because I feel like I'm way less likely to be sued for using these images. And, you know, I've talked about this before where I used to find a tape and you'd fast forward through all the dialogue and the dinner scenes and shit. And it was like, get to the fucking. Now it's the complete opposite. I fast forward through that to get to the dinner scene so that I can screenshot that from
what is the plot?
My porn tune stuff. It's so stupid because I could do that with anything. Like with any old B movie, it doesn't need to be porn. But there's something funny to me. And I think it's funny for the readers to know that these people just fucked or about to fuck, and they're just talking about whatever stupid thing I make them talk about. But so I'm looking at porn quite a bit. You know, every month I'm scouring through mostly vintage porn, and occasionally something catches my eye. I'm like, well, I got about 15 minutes before I got to be at my meeting, but
clear my shed.
Very rarely. Well, it's just. I don't know. You get to a point where you've kind of seen it all, and then you just get busy with life. But I understand why people get addicted to this shit, and it is a problem.
Have you heard the term gooning? I've learned about this recently.
Oh, that's so interesting. I had that on my list to talk about on the next episode, but let's talk about it now.
I literally just thought it was like another slang term for masturbating.
Well, it is, but I think it's like a long period where you're not reaching climax and you're just watching porn.
It's basically edging, more extreme edging. So this is the story from the New York Post. It says the rising popularity of a solo sex act may seem relatively harmless, can actually have devastating effects on an intimate relationship with the partner, experts caution. Gooning. It's so funny you brought this up.
What a weird name.
There's a Goonies parody waiting to happen somewhere in here.
I was gonna say, dude, I feel like you got to hang out with your buddies while you're doing this.
It's my turn to
go
come
looking
down
for treasure
here.
at the same time.
Gooning, the act of masturbating to porn without climaxing for hours, if not days at a time, is all the rage lately for the psychological impacts brought on by deprivation, with self-pleasurers reportedly often sending themselves into trance-like states, according to numerous published papers and accounts. The act is similar to edging, a less extreme version of withholding climax. That is predicted to be a top fetish of 2025. We really think this is going to sweep the nation.
Well, I mean, as a guy, it's fucking like almost like a dominatrix thing to women, because you're like fucking them and you're like, oh yeah, and then you're like, oh, I'm done. Like, what? You didn't come? And she'd be like, what didn't I do? No, don't worry about it. It's just what's going on.
What didn't I do? I know what you didn't do, but tell me what I didn't do.
Dude, I've had girls like cry just because I didn't like fucking finish.
Really?
Like cry. What did I do? What didn't I do?
Well,
like,
communication.
It's not
clear,
you. It's nothing. It's just
you didn't cry enough. Oh my god!
It's time to go to bed.
Like, suddenly I gotta finish. Something about you crying over me not coming that really makes me hot.
Anyways, I gotta get out of your trailer and go home now.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's no sign that says finish this every time.
Well, yeah, you don't owe anybody coming. Nobody owes anybody coming. And there's a lot that goes into it. There's psychological stuff. The people have a hard time doing it in their own home when they're by themselves, and there's a lot that goes into that. But the story goes on to say, the act is similar to edging. Interest in the awkward act of onanism?
Onanism.
What? Onism? What is that?
Onanism. It's just like another term for masturbation. That's like a biblical term. So like onan was like somebody's fucking brother or something, and he was supposed to get somebody pregnant and he didn't want to, so he fucking whacked off and came on the floor, and they were like, no, you cannot spill your seed upon the ground. That kind of shit. Yeah.
Jesus, the Bible's weird. And it goes
that was my perfect explanation of that story from the Bible.
Perfect explanation. And it says the act of onanism has gone up 800% in the last 5 years, the Daily Mail reported. But some experts warn the new way to wank can have a damaging impact on the fetishist relationship. Relying heavily, this is a quote, relying heavily on pornography can desensitize the individual to real sexual encounters, increasing the risk of erectile dysfunction when engaging with sex with the partner. A man can find he needs pornography to get aroused rather than on the presence and touch of the partner. So that's nothing new. What I thought this story was going to head to, though, was more of a physical thing. And I remember going back to when I was young and discovering this thing, and it's like, you know, just the thing itself is great for a while, but then you're like, I'm going to see how varied I can get with this. And I remember before I even knew that edging was a thing, I remember experimenting with it and being like, this is something new. Maybe it's more intense if I do this for a while. But I remember, I don't know if this is a physiological thing that everybody has, but I remember getting to a point, and not like a crazy long period, where it's just like, at some point my junk was just kind of like, all right, poop or get off the pot. And then it just lost interest. Not in an erectile dysfunctional way, but in like, I'm just not like, it's like, maybe that's what the Bible meant by self-abuse. Like I pushed it too far. But this article doesn't say anything about that. But anyway, I don't know. I think that edging definitely has, and there's some sex experts that say that edging can actually improve your erectile dysfunction, improve people who prematurely ejaculate for sure. I think everyone's just so different, and physiologically there are a lot of ins and outs, no pun intended, that go into this. And, you know, some dudes are one and done. They get off and then they roll over and they are asleep. Some people can go 2 or 3 times back to back. And then some dudes can just come all fucking night. Like if they can just keep on a coming. I'm not one such. I can do once or twice. The whole like forever and ever and ever. No, these are physiological changes.
That's a young man's game.
Well, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. When before I had my surgery, before I had cancer, and before they took my kidney out, I was fine, dude. I was a marathon man. I could go on and on all night long. But once I got that kidney ripped out, what happened was I created that hydrocele. And if you don't know what that is, it's water that comes in like a hernia into your ball sack, and it goes into your nut literally and swells your ball up. And mine's been kind of touch and go, but like mine's been more touchier than go-y these days.
Gotcha.
Like they're the size of a fucking softball. Like one fucking ball is like the size of a fucking batter up. you know, it puts a lot of stress on everything, even on fucking old righty, because righty getting crushed within the sack.
Sure.
My God, I don't mean to laugh. What the fuck?
It's
man?
not funny. It's
I know.
it's painful. So
It
kind of my
sounds
sex
awful.
life.
Awful.
I don't have a sex life, dude. I've had nurses when I was in the hospital that were like, "Can I see it?" I'm like, "No."
Seriously?
Yes. Yeah. Because you could tell.
I don't know. If
Dude, I'm wearing a gown and I got
that.
I got a softball hanging between my legs.
Investigation. Huh. That seems
so
inappropriate.
yeah, and I was like, "No, I don't know you well enough."
Yeah.
One of them was kind of cute, and I kind of
Come back with the sponge, you know.
yeah, a little trough, and we could have a little fun back.
You just put the lobster down in a trough, rub me down, and you can see my fucking softball. Jesus.
Yeah, my
Man, that's
fucking
rough.
softball.
Well, we're at an hour. Do you guys want to move into some weird trip?
Yeah,
We're
but
doing
before we
double?
do, real
Yeah.
quick, I gotta say, I did go see. Sarah and I went and saw Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan movie.
Oh,
I know you guys aren't Bob Dylan fans, but holy shit, I recommend this movie. It's a beautiful movie, really
I've heard
interesting, slow pace. It's a long movie, but it's just so well acted, beautifully directed. The period, everything looks amazing, and it's
Who made it?
Chalamet,
interesting
Timothy
story.
Chalamet.
Who is the director actually? I don't think I recognized.
No, the lead, Timothy Chalamet.
Oh,
right?
yeah, Timothy Chalamet was Bob. The cast was phenomenal, and it gets into a little bit of the stuff with Woody Guthrie, and I love all that music, and I love Bob Dylan, but even if you don't, I highly, highly recommend going to see A Complete Unknown.
Good flick, huh?
Yeah, it was
right.
fucking great. And maybe, you don't have to go see it in the theater. It's not a big spectacle, but it's a beautiful movie. And even quicker than that, I have to say, for whatever reason, when I was sick and laying around, I decided to watch The Revenant.
Oh, it's such a good
What was
movie.
that? I
I
was like,
had never
wait, the
seen
one
it.
with
The bear?
Leo?
I kept waiting for this infamous bear rape scene.
I mean, he gets pretty fucked up.
He
by
gets
that.
fucked up.
brutal.
He does not get raped. I don't know how this thing ever started. At least maybe they edited the scene.
Wait
got
till you get
bear
the director's
slapped.
cut.
I mean, look,
Yeah,
it
he got
one.
bear slapped the shit out of.
Oh, it's like a 3-hour brutal fucking movie.
There's no rape. What it is just him getting the shit kicked out of him by that bear.
There's like a couple scenes where, I mean, it's a bear attack. It's a massive grizzly bear attack on a dude. And at one point, the bear is behind the guy, like he's smashing him into the ground and he's biting his back. I guess that's where people got the rape thing, but it's not like...
Maybe.
And then the bear is like up in his face, like sniffing him. Then anyway, it's like I said, it's about a 3-hour movie. It is one of the most beautifully shot movies you'll ever see. It's
I love the way that
every bad
that
thing
film
you
was
can imagine
filmed.
happening to somebody happens to Leo, and it's uncomfortable. It's like a gross, gritty, snotty, miserable movie, but it was fucking incredible, and I recommend it. I think it was on Peacock or maybe Max. I don't remember where I saw it, but Anyway, I can confirm, I feel like there was no bear rape, but there was a brutal, brutal bear attack. And the whole fucking movie is pretty unbelievable.
I still don't know how they did that. I'd like to watch the behind the scenes.
Hit it, Ron.
It's Weird Trivia with Christopher F. Hahn. A man from Florida who thinks square shit in nature. Don't get me started on the goddamn brown hair. It's Weird Trivia that might get Christopher fired.
All right, question 1. This story hit the news cycle last year, and I've been hanging on to it for a bit here for a Weird Triv segment. The story is about an OnlyFans model named Andressa Uric. She, I believe, is from Italy. She's become famous for her adult content she produces, and she's made quite a living for herself. But during an interview with a local news station, she told the viewers that she employs a cameraman for all her shoots. And that cameraman is
Me.
A.
Her brother.
One of the following is A. Her 19-year-old son.
Oh, that's way worse than brother. Well, is that worse than brother? Yes, it is. Oh, 19. Okay. Yeah. He's an adult, but
he's still their son.
Is it B. Her brother?
Oh, boy. What is going to be worse here? This could get interesting.
Is it C. Her old high school English teacher?
Well, that's just modern America. Could be your current high school. Yeah, so.
I don't think she's in America.
If we're being honest,
she's in Italy.
Or is it D? She says it's the ghost of her ex-husband.
I like that
ghost of her ex-husband is filming? Okay.
No.
Mm-hmm. Again.
You can name your tripod whatever you want, I suppose.
She's famous. She's made quite a living for herself doing this. Very X-rated adult content. Found out her cameraman is one of the following: her 19-year-old son, her brother, scandalous, her old high school English teacher, or the ghost of her ex-husband. Ronster, what are you feeling?
Well, brother is pretty weird and bad, but I do think that the worst has to be son. That doesn't mean that's... Is this in the United States?
No, Italy, I believe.
Italy, okay, I thought Lyle said that. Well, I'm torn between brother and son.
Mm-hmm.
Aren't we all?
A 19-year-old son. And you said this is hardcore. It's not just like mom taking her titties out and splashing about in a bubble bath.
I was led to believe it was hardcore.
All right. I'm going to go son. Yeah. I mean, it's
interesting.
It's hard. It's hard for me to say that I would prefer it to be her brother. Well, see, that's kind of got me thinking too, because families are very fucking different from country to country. But I don't know. I don't feel like Italians are normally filming their moms banging themselves with a dildo.
Mm-hmm.
I hope if it's whoever it is, I hope they're getting the hell of a cut. Unless it's the math teacher, then he's probably doing it for free.
Yeah. He's like, I love life.
And get more money.
I should have retired years ago.
Love life.
Right.
Math got me nowhere. Now look at these tits. Ah!
I'm living the unrevenant life.
Oh my god.
Everything is unmisery.
Okay, John Mark.
I'm gonna go with the ghost.
Go with the ghost.
The ghost of the ex-hubs.
Oh, I'm gonna be
like
pissed
this,
if it's
John
the ghost. I thought that would.
I like 2025 John Mark.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
I'm going with the fucking ghost. Huh. I'm going to be disappointed if it's the ghost, honestly.
You need to kick your hips up.
Let me get your lube.
You just sound like you're in the doily.
Yeah, that could be the brother. Poop on me, sister. Poop on me.
Poop on me.
Bring me some toilet paper.
Here's thee, not thy.
Okay. What are you going with?
Oh, I'm sorry. I got it. Go ahead.
Got a little carried.
I was gonna go with the ghost, but I think I'm gonna go with the teacher. And don't get me wrong, if it is the teacher, it could like wind out to having like 2 separate channels, man. Where like it's all by herself or them fucking, but they're gonna be making money regardless. I promise.
Do you like this, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, my chalkboard goes.
That's true. That could be. Boy, I hadn't thought about that. I haven't thought about it from the fetish aspect.
I'd almost look
I
at
was
it.
thinking about it like, who do I know that can operate a camera?
I'm watching it. My mouse is clicking on that channel.
I am not searching modesty.
Not even
modest sibling.
Question.
The rarest of porn. Okay.
Question 2. This famous dead celebrity was a staunch vegetarian. But in a weird turn of events, they actually fucking hated vegetables too. Who are we talking about?
That would be tough.
Not ironic. God. Was it A?
Elvis Presley.
Don't spoil. Was it A? Michael Jackson.
Ooh, sometimes it's better if you're black or white.
I could see him being a vegetarian.
Yeah.
Broccoli jean. Not my tum tum.
Just look at
Sauce on it. Hoo-hoo.
Shimon.
Okay.
Was it B? Heath Ledger.
Oh shit.
Yeah, anything
We
can
can't
go
we
with
can't
that dude.
talk rude about the guy. He's dead.
R.I.P.
Was it C? Elvis Presley.
Well, that's funny.
You ain't nothing but a fucking carrot top, motherfucker.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Or was it D? Princess Diana.
Oh.
She looks kind
Again.
of like a vegetarian.
One of these people was a big time vegetarian, but fucking hated vegetables. Like, couldn't stand them. Was it Michael Jackson, Heath Ledger, Elvis Presley, or Princess Di?
Well, I know Elvis ate bacon, but maybe he gave that up at some point.
Peanut butter.
But yeah, he ate those Fool's Gold sandwiches and the famous Elvis sandwiches.
Okay.
But yeah, maybe he gave that up at some point in his life. For some reason, I'm leaning toward Michael Jackson. Princess Di, anything could go. And what was the other one?
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger. Total guess. I'm just going to go with Michael Jackson.
Okay, I'll put you down for A.
You know, these days there's all sorts of vegetarian things you can eat that are just kind of like weird processed foods, vegetable, like soy and some grain or another to make fake cheese and crumble protein. So you could get by pretty well being a vegetarian without actually eating, vegetables. I mean, you're eating them, but they're part of something that tastes like meat or a soup or whatever. Back in the day, that'd be tough. Vegetarian that hates veggies.
Yeah, I think it would be. Okay, Joe Mark.
I don't know. I'm going to go with Heath Ledger for some reason.
Interesting. We're all over the place tonight.
Yeah, I was thinking Heath, but I don't think he had too much of a, he didn't look like a vegetarian. He looked like he eat meat.
What does a vegetarian look like?
By his stature, he just looked thicker than a lot of people.
I would believe all of them, but Elvis.
Exactly. Well, Elvis was really thick.
But Elvis.
Especially towards the end. I don't believe that at all.
That's
He
the
was
thing.
sneaking fat. He was sneaking fat off the grill, son.
But it's not the
Putting
meat
that
that
on a
makes you
burger.
fat. It's all the bread and the peanut butter and so it's tough. You can
I'm gonna
absolutely be
go-
a fat vegetarian if you eat a lot of like bread and carbs.
God bless her soul. God bless the queen. I'm gonna go with Princess Diana.
Fucking wild. You've 2 questions in a row. You've all picked different answers. This
Yeah.
is an interesting quiz. I like this. All right, question 3. Courtney Love did an interview not too long ago where what?
Hole.
Hole?
Her band.
He's saying
Hole. Yeah. I actually wrote a really bad hole joke at the end of this, which I may or may not read. We'll see.
Let's hear it.
Pull out of your ass.
It's pretty. Lyle will like.
Hey, you know what?
All right, okay. Let's see if I can get through this. Courtney Love did an interview not too long ago where she said in the late 90s she almost hooked up with this person. but was ultimately turned off by their weird fashion sense and breath. Who almost got that hole?
I like it.
Nice. Well done.
I apologize to everyone.
No need.
It's not too soon.
Okay.
We
Who
don't have-
almost hooked up with Courtney Love, but she didn't like their fashion sense and or breath? Was it A, Noel Gallagher?
Not even that.
I said
Oasis.
maybe
Oh.
you're gonna be the one to stain me.
Save me. Yeah.
Okay. I got an Oasis story coming up too. This is a weird episode. We're starting 2025 kooky.
Was it B, Dennis Rodman?
I could see that.
There's
'Cause
nobody
at
you
the
could say
time-
that I couldn't see. Courtney Love dated a lot of, like a wide range of people. I think the only prerequisite was that they had to be famous, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not making
But
any
at the
statement by
At
saying
the
that.
time, they were both in the headlines most of the time.
I could see her
So
being attracted to Dennis Rodman. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that too.
Was it C, Conan O'Brien?
No.
Oh,
This is
what a
little
weird porn that would be, huh?
No.
Can you imagine a homemade porn of Conan and Courtney Love? It'd be surreal. His hair bobbing. His orange coif.
I can't imagine it, yeah.
Don't
Bobbing up
stop.
and
I'm
down.
almost there.
Oh my God.
Can I get the
Is that
bag
your
of Conan?
Conan?
Well, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Conan.
Killing
I'm
it.
about to put my cone in. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Yeah, like
Or
this.
was it D, the
better
one you
man.
guys just were waiting to hear? Eddie Money.
Hey, money.
No, come
Bad
on.
breath, Eddie.
I wonder what the age difference would be. I guess that doesn't matter.
That's why he's got bad breath, Eddie.
Take me to the hole tonight.
Take me to the hole tonight. Ooh,
Eddie fucking Money.
that's what you want.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I do believe Courtney was attracted to money.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, I'll stop.
That's 100% right there. But
Semi-sexist
Okay.
Courtney jokes.
Who was it? Noel Gallagher, Dennis Rodman, Conan O'Brien, or Eddie Money?
just take the Eddie out. It was all about the money.
I can't possibly chase the money herring here.
You should. You should.
But goddamn, am I tempted? This is a kooky game. Like, I've already either won or lost because nobody has picked anything that anyone else has.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like I might get loosey-goosey by picking the money herring, but I also want to try to answer for realsy.
Yeah, do it. Do it what your heart tells you.
I need the question one more time.
Courtney Love, one more time. Easy for you to
Sound
say.
like Trump. Courtney Love. I love women. I protect women. I
Courtney
love them.
Love
Grab my pussy.
did an interview not too long ago where she said in the late 90s she almost hooked up with this person, but ultimately was turned off by their weird fashion sense and breath. Who was it? Noel Gallagher, Dennis Rodman,
Did you say Gallagher?
Conan, or Eddie Money?
I don't feel like any of them have a weird fashion sense except for Dennis Rodman, but
That's weird.
I can
Haven't
only
seen
picture him
Courtney?
dressing up in drag, like the wedding dress. But I don't think he did that all the time. He dressed kooky, but I can't picture how he dressed. It was mostly about the hair and the face and the piercings. He was ahead of the game on that kind of look in terms of like a mainstream thing. Now we're doing all sorts of things to our face.
Yeah, if you seen him now, you wouldn't even recognize him. He looks kind of half-ass normal.
Huh. Yeah, I haven't seen him in a long time. Well, I
tattoos.
don't know. I'm going to go Rodman. I mean, I picture was it Noel or Liam Gallagher? They both seem to dress normal to me. Noel, I think dresses a bit more normal than Liam. Liam always just kind of has like a raincoat on and jeans. But Noel, I feel like he just wears like regular jeans and like a plaid short sleeve shirt. I don't know. Eddie Money, I don't. I'm so tempted to look it up. Of course, I'm not going to, but I can't picture how Eddie Money dresses. Would Courtney Love have been in a
Let's move
situation
on.
to fuck Eddie Money?
I'm cutting you off.
All right, that's
You've
fair.
gone with Rodman.
I said
John Mark.
maybe.
I'm going with Gallagher.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to go with Rodman because it's the
Okay.
only one you're describing to me that I can remember from the 90s.
First double dip of the night.
Late 90s.
I could see them being in a situation where a hookup was almost imminent. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
At the music awards or something, you know.
Well,
Question 4.
any of them.
Arnold Schwarzenegger pays a certain movie studio $1 per year to retain this movie prop from one of his films. It's an agreement he has worked out with them. What does Arnie get to keep at home from his cinematic past? But he does have to pay $1 a month. It's part of the contract.
I like this.
Is it A, his Mr. Freeze outfit from Batman?
Mr. Freeze.
Get out!
Ice to see you.
I just see you.
Okay.
Is it B,
It's so
a
bad.
full-on Predator suit?
That would be dope.
A full-on
You're
of
so
the alien,
ugly.
of Predator. Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Remember
Is it
that book?
C, the prosthetic Arnold head from Total Recall when he's on the surface of Mars and his eyes are bulging out?
Pop out.
Now you're
Again.
Now you're talking.
Like pop,
Or
pop.
is it D, a screen-used sword from the second Conan movie?
Oh, I knew there had to be a
They paid $1
Conan
for that.
thing. Oh, I feel like he brings Mr. Freeze up a lot, but
Well, it's funny.
Maybe
Conan
it's near and dear to
sword.
him.
I mean, the Conan sword. Conan was like the birth of Arnold for most of us.
Oh, God.
And like the wielding the sword, and
He made me want to work out and get buff.
I'm gonna go with Mr. Freeze, but I bet it's the fucking sword.
I love it. Okay.
$1.
John Mark?
All of these are a bargain, by the way. $1.
We
a year.
had we had a Predator outfit, the Mr. Freeze sword from Conan sword.
And the prosthetic head from Total Recall.
Pop.
I don't know. I'm going with the Conan sword.
It has been way too long since I've seen Total Recall.
Yeah.
I wonder if it holds up. Makes me wish I had 3 hands.
It probably
It
doesn't in a
kinda-
way
it-
that does. You know what I mean?
Three boobs. Yeah.
Make me wish I
It
had
does.
3 hands. Didn't they? Did they do a remake of that, or they were talking about doing
We
a
did
remake
with
of
Colin Farrell, but I never watched it.
that? Yeah.
Anyways, Lyle.
I'm gonna go with the Total Recall head only because the ice, the Mr. Freeze. It's kind of fucked up. It's kind of like when we remember Mr. Freeze, like in the comics and everything else, he's just a skinny little fucking tool of a character. He's just a guy that's all heartbroken because he lost his love, trying to reanimate her and stuff like that. But he's not a giant monster of a fucking guy. He's not like Croc or anybody that's monstrously huge that could crush fucking Batman with a fucking punch.
So
like
which one?
Arnold.
So you said which one did you go with?
I'm going with the Total Recall with the head that the eyeballs pop out and shit.
Did no one pick the sword? I thought.
Well,
I
no,
did.
John Mark did,
Okay.
but I'm going with the head thing because I can only think that it's only worth having for a buck.
Because it's hilarious
For-
to show people. You
for
want
a
to see my
year.
eyeballs pop out of my
Once a
head?
year, I got to give $1 off for this.
It's a heck of a
but,
party trick. I bet
Like a
it's.
sword, I'd see like you have to give $1,000 or something.
He keeps it like in the fridge or something.
Yeah,
Well,
I bet
you'd
it's
have
the
to
sword,
keep it under
but,
lock and key and shit. That he just probably lays out on the front porch during Halloween.
for Halloween.
Yeah, for a buck.
Well,
For
we
a
got
buck
an
a year.
interesting game. Dying to
do.
see where this goes.
Okay.
Ain't gonna be
Let's
close.
go over it. It is an interesting game. I love it when you guys all pick different shit. I'm like, yeah, fuck
Yeah,
okay.
it's rare.
This story hit the news last year, and I've been saving it. It's about a woman that is an OnlyFans creator that is quite popular. Has made quite a living for herself doing adult content. She did a story on her local news station, and I believe Italy, where she revealed that her cameraman was her 19-year-old son.
Oh my goodness.
And
Okay.
he has a quote. He was just like, I treat it like any other job. It's sometimes weird.
How the fuck can you do
yeah,
that?
don't buy it.
Yeah,
man.
Your mom is banging herself and you're fucking filming.
And other people, like not just her.
And other people.
I
Oh,
hear
my
where he's
goodness.
coming from, but he sees where his mom is coming from. You know
Well,
what I'm
what's he
saying?
drive?
I was
He's-
under the impression that
question.
she's quite wealthy from her work and is paying him well.
Right, like
I'm gonna try to look that up while Chris moves on.
couple Lambos. Yeah.
The I had a picture of her to send you guys. Here, I'll send it over, but
Italian
see what she looks like.
OnlyFans
19-year-old son.
son I'm gonna get rid of Sun. I've got enough weird things that I've searched for. Italian OnlyFans.
Her name is
Mom.
Andressa.
There we go.
You're on a new list.
Net worth.
Oh, she's not.
Oh shit.
Thought you had to log off for some U-time.
Of course, the one window I search in is the one that I need to have open. All right. Can you hear me okay now?
Too excited. Yeah.
Whoops.
Okay.
I hopped back over here before I could do further research, but in her first month, she made $15,000, and that was her first month. So she's doing good. And so is he.
I'm sure.
Plenty of money to pay for therapy.
This famous dead celebrity was a staunch vegetarian, but in a weird turn of events, they fucking hated vegetables. We were talking about Michael Jackson. Ronster.
Oh, shit.
Boom.
2025 is looking good for one person.
2, 4, 2. Courtney Love did an interview not too long ago where she said in the late 90s she almost hooked up with this person but was turned off. She said she decided against it because he looked like a 13th century serf from Monty Python.
Oh no!
We're talking about Noel Gallagher. And the picture they put on, I wish I would have saved it. The picture they put on the story, he looked fucking weird.
Oh, his little like super short mullet. Is that what she's talking about?
Yes, and like the joint eyebrows and like the weird bowl, like Beatles bowl cut he had and stuff. It was like very strange looking.
Okay. Are you talking about the guy that used to bust fucking watermelons?
No, man. No, I'm not. Yes, I am.
Oasis.
That's the one.
The band Oasis. I said maybe. I'm going to smash a melon, baby. So stand back, gang.
John Mark gets that one.
Smash watermelons.
Well, what'd you say? What was his name? Gallagher?
Noel Gallagher.
Noel, yeah.
Anyway.
Well, they look pretty similar.
Smashing melons. She did fuck Smashing Pumpkin, but no Smashing Melons.
All right, question 4. Let's see who can win this.
Yeah.
Right now, it's Ron with 2 points, John Mark with 1. Arnold Schwarzenegger pays a certain movie studio $1 per year to retain this movie prop from one of his films. And the movie prop we were talking about was his Mr. fucking Freeze outfit from the Batman movie.
Interesting.
Ronster.
I was really thinking we were heading for a tiebreaker there. I thought for sure it was the sword.
He swooped right in. That was a great round. A good guess. What a weird fucking thing, right?
He loved that movie.
For it.
It's one of the goofier Batman movies. Was that the one with Val Kilmer or George Clooney?
I can't remember. It was one of those two, and it was like
I think Clooney.
Those two, I don't even. I don't know. Maybe I need to go back and rewatch them, but I don't.
They're fun,
I don't consider them.
but they're they went so.
They're
far
not
out
as
to
good
do
as the first ones.
You know, I don't.
No,
looking
totally
at the time,
different
I'm not.
Like,
I think you have to watch them for what they are and not. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's the time. Yeah, they went in super like neon-y and fucking, I don't know, weird.
Okay, Mr. Freeze.
Yes.
Rumored for a Batman. Oh, as I'm looking for this, did you guys watch fucking The Penguin?
Not yet.
I still
It's
haven't watched
so
it yet.
fucking
I'm
good.
definitely gonna watch it.
I had not seen the new Batman movie. It's like a prequel right up to the beginning of the Batman, the new Batman movie, which I haven't seen. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
See it. It's so fucking good. Okay,
The
Mr. Freeze.
the newest?
Yeah, I think the one wasn't. It's the one that's called The Batman. Isn't that with Robert?
Yeah, Robert Pattinson.
I have not seen
But
that.
with the kid that plays Batman.
I don't know what you're talking
He's
about.
a boy. He's not really a man. He's not like a badass.
The guy from Twilight, and
It's
he's
the
like
dude
40.
from Twilight, and he's closer. He's Chris's age.
Does he got Twilight hair?
Batman and Robin.
No,
so
he's
that
got
was
worse.
he's got Bruce Wayne hair.
Oh my god, I don't want to see it.
It's
then.
bad. I don't like his hair in that way. That was too emo.
Remind
okay. Mr.
Fucking
Freeze,
ruined.
Batman and Robin, 1997. That was the one with George Clooney and it was Chris. What was it? O'Donnell that played.
Yeah.
So the other one was what was the one with Val Kilmer? Why aren't these popping
So
up?
it's Batman Forever and
Batman Forever.
Can't remember. Yeah.
It was Batman and Robin, right?
Batman
Yeah,
and Robin
another one.
was the one with Mr. Freeze. Batman Forever was with Tommy Lee Jones. and
Okay. Jim Carrey.
Jim Carrey and Val Kilmer was
They
Batman.
hated each other. They hated each other in that movie.
On the set? Oh, in the movie?
Yeah. No, on the set, Jim Carrey was too. Tommy Lee Jones said he couldn't take him fucking seriously. He's like, like they almost got in an argument or something.
Jim Carrey's out there, man.
He seems like one of those guys, especially back then. Like he entered some sort of weird Zen, like hippie thing later on. But back then, I think he was just wiry and kind of uncomfortable in his own skin.
Goofy.
And you know, when people are like that, they're just like, they can never hold still. They're never off. You know, they always got to be on. They always got to be like, oh, that gets old.
Yeah.
So Batman Forever was 95.
I mean, Robin Williams is like that. We all loved him for it, but
I think it was.
I think a similar thing in his younger days. Yeah, well, coke also.
Cocaine too.
Robin Williams did a shit ton of coke.
Hell of a drug.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to talk about something that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. We had planned on it, and that is this little movie recommendation that John Mark sent over that most of us watch called The Substance.
Yes.
No, I didn't.
Oh my fucking god!
Speaking of unrealistic beauty standards.
I guess let's not spoiler it. Let's just we started that movie. It was on. I think it was on Thanksgiving. God, we haven't podcast since Thanksgiving. You guys.
I know.
That's crazy. So me and Ember put it on, and I'd seen the trailer and I'd seen a lot of buzz about it. A delighted joint to tell the story. I felt like I had a pretty good idea what this movie was about. Boy, was I wrong. Are you there, Ron?
I'm back. Yeah.
Okay. I would say that I thought the first 2/3 of that movie were phenomenal. I was on the edge of my seat.
Yes.
And I loved every direction it was taking. I was surprised. I was totally enraptured by the performances. I think Demi Moore is amazing, and Margaret Qualley is obviously captivating to look at. She's very attractive and plays that role very well.
Yeah.
But, man, was it unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
And as individuals that are on the Demi Moore side of that adventure, closer to that than the Margaret Qualley side,
sure,
I had some feelings about my age. And I got about 30 minutes before that movie ended, I started to not feel well. And I fought it and fought it and fought it. And finally I turned to Ember, like literally about 2 minutes before credits rolled, and said, I got to go throw up. And I ran upstairs to the bathroom and threw up in the bathroom. And I don't know if it was 100% the movie that did this to me, but I don't ever throw up. And I was disgusted by the things I was seeing. It gave me a visceral reaction. And when I got up to the bathroom, I turned the lights on. I looked at myself in the fucking mirror, and I looked pale. And I looked like ghoulish, and I was like, "This is not what I need to see right now." I just saw a lot of
I
this.
gotta get the substance.
There's a lot of looking into a mirror and seeing imperfections and processes of aging in that movie.
Yeah.
And holy shit! So that's all I just had to share. I was like, oh, I had to go back and like rewatch the last 3 minutes because I missed it.
Well, you're right. The first half, essentially. Definitely the first third of the movie is super sexy, super glossy, stylish. The whole movie is stylish. Like it's one of those movies that's like a sumptuous feast for the eyes. You know, you said it great. You're immediately just into it. Like immediately.
Until it becomes not that.
Sometimes it's a slow burn on movies. This kind of movie, it was just so interestingly directed and edited, and the whole. You know, elements of it kind of reminded me of the first time I saw Fight Club, where it's like, you know, when he walks into a living IKEA advertisement, it's just like, there are certain things that are kind of like that stylistically. They're like, wow, that's clever and really fun to watch. There are some things that were kind of like that, but the whole way you feel, it's interesting that you barfed, because even in those scenes in that part of the movie, there's a sickness to it. There's a sickly, it's sort of sickly sweet at first, and then it just kind of continues, and you get little glimpses, and it's like somebody looks down at their skin and sees something, but did they really see it? And then it's just on to the next thing, and then you see what's happening with the career of the aging model, actress, whatever, and then the young hot actress pops onto the scene and all that stuff. And it's very straightforward in a lot of ways at first, even through the stylistic approach. Where that fucking movie goes, you could never in a million years fucking predict. It is... I know I've heard a lot of people say it's like David Lynch meets Cronenberg. There was a director that came to my mind that I would also put in there, but I'm spacing it now. But it was, I don't know. It's an amazing movie, and it has such a powerful message, but the message is not, it's desperation and obviously the allegory of aging and putting a spotlight on youth and beauty and ignoring aging. But when I saw Demi Moore, like, there is a lot of fucking nudity in this movie. You'll see more fucking bush in the first 15 minutes of this movie than you see in most Hollywood movies. And I thought that Demi Moore looked pretty fucking amazing in most of those shots. And I thought that there were some angles that they shot her from specifically to, low light, if I may use that expression. The aging woman, but all those little characters and all the little plot points along the way, there's so much to this movie. I immediately wanted to watch it again.
I didn't go through up because I was disgusted with the movie. I was just disgusted.
It just affected you somehow viscerally.
Well, the shit that you see is disgusting. There are like this is a brutal movie. But toward the end, I think that's all that really needs to be said, because I don't want to. It's kind of one of those movies. It'd be hard to spoil. Like, we could describe the final scene, and everyone would be like, huh? What? So it's not that you could really spoil it. It's just that you have to see it. But I know that there's more to it than just the beauty standard thing. But what I loved was that. And I didn't know this until the credits rolled, that the director was a woman. And one last thing that I want to say is, for whatever reason, I got back into American Horror Story. And I know we talked about this on the old show. I think we all used to watch it. I don't know about Lyle, but I think, John Mark, you used to watch it, didn't you?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How far did you get? What season are you still watching them?
I think... So I watched the first two for sure, and then there was like the third one was like the witches, right? In like
my
New Orleans
least
or
favorite
something.
one.
Yeah, I watched it, and I wasn't super big fan of that one. And then the one after that, was that the one in the hotel with
Freak Show or Hotel? I can't remember which one.
Because I never got past Freak Show.
Okay, I think I don't know if I watched all of Freak Show, and then there was the hotel with Lady Gaga or something, right?
Yeah, I liked that season. And I like the Freak Show season.
I think that's kind of where I fell off, but I don't.
Chris, you liked the witch season?
I thought it was fine. Yeah, I didn't. There were things about it that were really good, and there were things that were really bad, like every fucking other season.
I hated it. Yeah, isn't that weird though? They're all like kind of good, and then kind of like, wow, that was the worst acting. That was the worst dialogue. You know what I mean? Like, every season has like, why did it get so cheesy all of a sudden? It's weird.
It is weird. I think we all agreed, though, that our favorite season was the Asylum one, right?
Yeah, was that 2?
Yeah, that was the one with the aliens at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, but I started with the one after that, which was, I think it was the one after that, which was Cult. And it was all about when Donald Trump was elected the first time, and there were these, there was this sort of cult forming around that. And it had some twists and turns that I didn't see coming. I found it interesting, and but then I watched the next one, which was Apocalypse. And that one pulled from like almost every season before. And it started really good, and then it got stupid, and then it really looked like it was going to finish well, and then I think it dropped the ball. But I was curious. I only brought it up because I was curious to see if you guys continued to follow it.
Wasn't there a season of American Horror Story that was like set in like 1984 about like a slasher?
That's the next one. That's the one that I'm on now, and I haven't started it yet, but I'm going to watch it. Okay. But here's the thing.
Yeah, that one sounded interesting to me. Like,
yeah, me too. I love everything retro 80s and slashery, so I'm hoping that I'll enjoy it. But Chris liked the Witch one. That was my least favorite one, but the Witch one is by far the most popular season. Is it really for fans? Yeah, and the Apocalypse one really pulls heavily from the Witch one, but it didn't bug me as much as it did the Witch one. But you know, this shit, like, that's right, bitch. I'm a human voodoo doll. Whatever I do to myself happens to you. It's like, wow, could you have explained that in a more embarrassingly stupid way?
There was something about their superpowers that just like I couldn't get past it, and I was like. You know what I mean? Because like I have this certain idea in my mind of like what I don't know. I just have preconceived notions of like what witches should be like. You know what I mean? And so when they're like doing all this fucking Harry
Sounds
Potter
very
shit,
sexist,
like,
John Mark.
I was like, what the fuck is this? Like I just couldn't. It was too cartoony for me. You know what I mean? I couldn't totally.
But that's the thing with this series. It's kind of cartoony. Anyway, like I said, I only brought it up. I was curious to see how far you guys got. But I am about to start the 1984 one. And, you know, the other thing is they're all there. You can marathon them. When I was watching them before, you had to watch them week by week. And then you were more invested. And I think the disappointment level of getting to the end of a season being like, well, that was bullshit. It felt like more of a waste, even though it's the same amount of time. It's easier to swallow. It's like, well, we'll try the next one. And you stream them all in a couple of days. But I'll report back on 1984.
Isn't there like a spin-off series now, too? It's like Stories by American Horror Story or some shit. Like,
I get the feeling that those are not anthology. Well, yeah, anthologies, like one-offs, yeah?
Yeah. I don't know. I just remember seeing it. Like, I don't know. Like, I was looking for something on Hulu or Prime or something maybe, and it was like, oh, like American Horror Story, but it's like a spin-off, but it's still American Horror Story. And I was like, what is this? Oh, what's what? So I know nothing about it if it's any good or not. But
yeah, I don't either. Well, should we get on out of here on that note?
Let's do it, guys.
Tune in next week. We're going to be talking about 9/11. I think we have enough distance between us and that initial event that we can.
It's time.
Yeah, it's time. Other than that, tune in next week. Have a good week, y'all. And bang.
Night, guys.
Bye.
First time I got laid, I asked the girl, could you, like, dance around in a squiggly way? This doesn't quite look right.
No, it would be what it was.
It's at the same time, and that's abnormal.